Greetings!
Each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant. That's a good beat. Each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant, each eggplant. That's a good beat.
Starting right off the bat, smacking my microphone is what you do. How's it going, everyone? Welcome into, what is this, the third episode of the live podcast here? Maybe even the fourth. I think it's the fourth, actually. But here we are. We are back. We are live, and we are doing well here today, folks. We got a plethora of things to talk about, of course. Including but not limited to Lego Batman. We're going to start off with that, seeing as I've already talked about Saros twice now. But I am going to give my final thoughts and review of Saros. PlayStation is doing some weird things. We'll talk about that. Xbox is looking for fan feedback. Let's see what people said to them. Nintendo is coming to Gamescom. And there's a whole bunch of more stuff as well to talk about, including RIP Lego 2K Drive. All right. I hope everyone's doing well. Thank you to Greedy Waffles for the 77-month subscription. Appreciate that, of course. Appreciate that. I hope you're all doing good. Lucy, welcome in. Congrats on getting first. There we go. I'm thinking that I forgot to add the chat to this screen, so I'm going to do that real quick here. It's only going to take 1 second. There she blows. What do you think? Top right? Bottom left? Center? Yeah, we'll put it bottom left. Okay, so let's go ahead and start us off with React About. What do you got to say?
Bet.
Oh, okay. Let's start off with first impressions of Lego Batman. Footage for today's episode comes, of course, from MK Fire and Ice. Very, very nice of them to upload the entire game in its entirety, only having like 1 day to play it, since I'm talking about this on Wednesday. I forgot that I got the deluxe edition of the game, which comes out like 3 days earlier, so it was a nice surprise when I got that email from Best Buy saying, hey, your order's ready for pickup. Now, you might be wondering, why did you do that, Yummy? Why did you become a stupid consumer and buy the deluxe edition? And it's because it was only like $10 more than the original edition, which was like $50. So I felt like the price was kind of justified. But also, once again, it is a terrible practice by game publishers to release a game for a higher price simply for early access, and it's something that's been going on since like Battlefield fucking 4. So not really much I can do other than like, yeah, I wanted to play the game. Sue me, I guess. Like I wanted to play the game, and let's talk about it because you know me. I love coming here and being 100% honest with everyone. And fuck, this game is boring. Like, do I have to say it? This game is fucking boring. There is nothing going on with this fucking game. It's just a button masher, essentially. You press square a bunch of times, maybe triangle every so often. You don't even need to press triangle. You can just punch the guy who's about to punch you. You can literally just... It's made... Yes, I get it. It's a kid's game. It's made for small children. But when I'm on the hardest difficulty setting, I don't think I should be having such an easy time with it that I haven't even... Essentially, I haven't really lost a full heart yet. I'm about 2 hours into the game, so this is very early impressions. But right now, it is just like the most not bare bones, but the most fucking basic Lego game I can think of. And I had the same problem with the Skywalker Saga. That game was piss easy. The level design was pretty bad as well because it was just a bunch of boss fights. And then like maybe a couple of normal levels and vehicle levels mixed in there. And with the Skywalker Saga, I could kind of forgive it because there already was a game based on Star Wars that went through the main story of like what, 7 of the 9 Star Wars films. So it's like, I get it, you're trying to do something different, you're trying to, spice it up, do whatever. With Lego Batman, though, it's like we haven't had a true Lego Batman game based off of anything that's already been established ever. Even the original Lego Batman games, they're all based off of just original stories and stuff from the Batman universe, of course, but it's mostly original stories. And sure, there were some DLC packs for like The Dark Knight and Man of Steel and et cetera, et cetera. But this is a game that's heavily based on Batman properties that we've had, and it's more so. I would say this is really the Batman game because a lot of it right now is what I'm playing, at least, is kind of based around the starting bat suit is the one from the Batman, which came out 2022 now or something like that. The Batmobile, it's the one from the Batman, which I don't mind. Like, I love the Batman. I think the Batman might be one of, if not my favorite Batman movie, and that's not just like me saying that due to it being the newest one. Like, it genuinely like gave me more feelings than The Dark Knight, which is kind of hard to do because that movie is kind of goated. But right now, it's heavily focused on that era or this newest era of Batman, which makes sense. It does start in a place where it's more Batman Begins-esque, but it quickly turns into something that's more based on the Batman. And maybe the problem with the game is the fact that the tutorial is taking forever to get through. Like, I still feel like I'm playing a bit of a tutorial, and I'm like 3-4 levels in right now. The entire start of the game, I was like, ruh-roh, this is rough. Like, it wasn't fun. The whole like beginning like section of the game just felt like it dragged on forever. Like these very basic tutorials that were like, here's how to run, here's how to jump, here's how to press square, here's how to press triangle, here's how to do a finishing move. And it's like, these are all things that, like, if I was designing the game, I would just have that be contained in that first section of the first level. Like, I don't like, at this point I was like, damn, just do a flash forward to when he's Batman, and then we go back and train with Ra's al Ghul or something like that. But no, they start you as like little boy Bruce Wayne. Here's how to run. Here's how to walk. Very basic stuff. There's really not even a puzzle in the first like 5 levels of the game. Like, I really didn't have to use my brain at all. It was literally just playing itself for the most part. And it's funny to say that because Mixtape is kind of a hot topic right now of being a game where you don't really have to do anything to play it. But I mean, this one really is like, okay, move around the joystick a little bit and press square, and you can pretty much get through anything. And it's just, I mean, I get, once again, I get that it's a kids game. I get that it's made for a younger audience. But having played so many Lego games in my lifetime, like there at least was some puzzle solving here or there, something to like really get your brain going. So much so that I was overthinking the first part of the game where you're playing as young Bruce Wayne with his dad in Wayne Manor. And I was overthinking it so much, I didn't know what to do. I was punching everything. I was like, okay, there's got to be something I got to build here to get past this locked gate. But at the end of the day, I had punched everything and collected all the studs, and nothing was happening. And all I had to do was walk up to the gate, and it opened. Like there was a cutscene of Alfred opening the gate, and I was like, "Fuck you." I was like, genuinely, fuck you. Like, really, we're starting off this basic. We're starting off with this minimal amount of gameplay for what? For what? And then there's a whole tutorial section of just running through. You're like chasing your hat or whatever, and you're just like, it's teaching you how to like crawl through tight spaces or balance across bridges. And it's like, this is all stuff that the game does for you. I don't have to press a button to crouch. I don't have to press an extra button to, like Sly Cooper, I don't have to press a button to land on a specific platform or balance across a beam. Like, these are things that the game just does for you. So having an entire tutorial for just these things doesn't really make sense. A whole elongated section. And once again, I get it. Like, you're telling the story of Batman. We're starting at the very beginning, but give my brain something to do here. Like, I don't need to beat up, random goons or whatever. But at the same time, like, this is just a nothing burger of a level where you're just like, walk from point A to B and maybe punch something to get an item, and then follow said item through a winding path that you could literally just hold forward on your joystick for about 5 minutes, and then boom, the level's over. And on top of everything else, like, I knew that this game was maybe going to be a little bit cringe because it's Lego, and they're dumbing down the story of Batman for this Lego game. And none of the jokes are landing for me. Like, there's, the slapstick comedy is there and blah, blah, blah. But unlike even some of the, even some of the worst Lego games, I at least can kind of, like, chuckle at a few things here or there. Like, even the Skywalker Saga, I thought there were some funny things that they did with that game. This one's just not hitting. And maybe it's because my love for Batman outweighs my love for comedy. I don't know, but it just, nothing's really hitting. I mean, there was already like a couple of fart and poop jokes really early on, and I was like, damn, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel for this one, aren't we? Like, this is the shit we're coming up with. Bats pooping on Bruce Wayne, and fucking ninjas in the League of Shadow farting while they're asleep. This is the type of comedy we're getting here. Like, I was genuinely like, I don't know. I was just kind of flabbergasted. I was like, this doesn't seem. It just isn't funny. It's just not funny. And I don't know if it's going to become funny eventually in the future. But as of right now, it's just one of these things where it's like, I'm mindlessly playing this game. I'm bored to death, and then these cutscenes play that you can't skip. Some of them you can skip. Most of them you can't. And it's just like over-explaining. Cringe joke, sight gag, something like that. Something that's just like, oh my god, can we please just get over with this? One of the fucking most annoying parts of the game for me personally, as a Batman super fan, was Alfred meets up with Batman after the whole League of Shadows thing, and they're in a private jet, and they're talking about, like, these are my plans for Gotham, blah blah blah. And Bruce Wayne literally is like, I need a symbol. I need a symbol, like, to show that I'm a symbol for the city. And I'm like, damn, this is like levels of like fucking damaged on over a Joker's head in Suicide Squad, levels of like on the nose fucking like explaining things. Like, oh, I better explain that I am a symbol in the city, a symbol of fear and being a vigilante. I better show them that that this is, I am going to over-explain the idea of Batman to 5-year-old children who probably already understand the idea of Batman from many other different sources, but I am going to be the one to really spell it out and piss off an entire, well, maybe not an entire community, but piss off me. These are things that I don't feel like need to be said. These are things that I don't feel like need to be really explained at all, because they are just inherent things that are built in with the character. And I get it. You're starting from the beginning of the Batman story. I get that. But also, like, there are some things that can be left unsaid, right? Like, you've already had the scene where, Bruce falls into the well and he's scared by bats. Like, we have that scene, and he wants to become a symbol of fear. We don't need it spelled out an hour later after the whole League of Shadow things happen. I'm just saying. There are some like cute little references here or there. Like when they originally had Ra's al Ghul on screen, he was like, "I have a particular set of skills," and I was like, "Okay, that's like mildly entertaining that they're referencing Taken because Liam Neeson played Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins." And you might be wondering, Yummy, why are you saying Ra's al Ghul? I thought it was Raish, and yes, it is Raish, but they pronounce it as Ra's al Ghul in this game and also in the movie Batman Begins. I'm guessing that's why they're calling him Ra's al Ghul instead of Ra's al Ghul, but that is besides the point. So right now, as it stands, the current section of the game that I'm going through is Batman with Jim Gordon going through a warehouse, and you're following Flask around. So they're kind of combining several different movies together here. So you have the Jim Gordon from The Batman, you have Batman from The Batman, you have the Batmobile from The Batman, but now we have this section of like you're going after Falcone and Flask. You're trying to track him. He's like the informant for Falcone. You're trying to track him down in the warehouse, and I'm sure there's going to be a scene where you hold him over upside down over whatever, and you're interrogating him. I think one of the main things that's almost at the core of this game that's kind of been an issue for me is a similar thing that happened in the Skywalker saga. They are very two linked games together. They're relatively the same style here. The problem is that it really doesn't feel like a Lego game. Like the progression and unlocking characters just isn't there at all. Collecting studs doesn't really matter. You don't have a stud meter to fill. Like, are there collectible things to find? Yes, you can make like a giant surfboard, or you can make a bonsai tree or whatever by collecting the random items in each level. But I really don't feel like there's anything off the beaten path, seeing as every time that I tried to go off the beaten path, I would just fall off the map and respawn. It just really feels like, once again, just like the Skywalker saga, it really feels like a dumbed down and just like ballooned out of proportion type game where it's like we decide to take every single moment from Batman Begins or The Batman and just stretch that shit out as far as we can to fill up game time. And that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like this game is already bloated and I'm not even fucking 3 hours into the game yet. And that is a fucking problem. I felt this way about Skywalker Saga, and I feel that way about the Lego Batman game here, Legacy of the Dark Knight. And whether it's going to entertain me more as the game goes on, or whether it's going to be to continue to be this boring, fucking horrendous experience, I don't know. And I've seen the reviews, folks. I've seen the 8s and the 9s and even some 10s, and that's fine. But for me personally, it is just really not hitting the spot. And I think I'm looking at this from an extra critical angle simply because I am such a big fan of Batman. Like, Batman is literally like the superhero for me. Like, there is no other superhero that gets to that level the same way that Batman does for me. And I've been following him for quite some time. Oh yeah, I have this on my arm, a Batman symbol on my arm. Like, these are things that I care about. I care about Batman a lot. I care about the lore a lot. I care about all this stuff. And you could say the same thing about Star Wars. Back when the Skywalker Saga came out, I was kind of pissed about that game too, doing what it did. But I don't think it was as egregious as this one. Like, maybe, and once again, it's probably because I like Batman more than Star Wars, probably. But I am coming at this with a bit of more of a hyper, like a bigger magnifying glass here, because yeah, I mean, this is an IP and a character that I really, really care about, and I want to see justice done to it. And if this is introducing Batman to a young audience, it's going to do the job, sure, but it's not going to really. I don't think it's really going to sell a child on Batman. They probably already like Batman if they're playing this game. But what this is going to do is it's essentially going to over-explain everything to a degree that there's going to be nothing hidden about the character that you discover while reading through the books or watching any of the movies. Like, all these intricate parts of the character are just kind of like spelled out for you, and then they also have poop and fart jokes in there to like really spice things up. The other thing that I want to mention too is that this game really makes me miss Will Arnett. He is a great Lego Batman. He had the pizzazz, the style, the voices down. Like, I say what you want about Will Arnett. He's a little bit cringy here and there. He is in a lot of stuff, but he is a damn good Batman, like a jokey style Batman. And even though I wasn't really big on Zach Galifianakis as Joker, but Will Arnett definitely was like my favorite version of like an animated like Lego Batman character, right? I know we haven't had too many of those Lego Batman characters be voiced, but that's a performance that I feel like needs to be in this game, because whoever's playing Bruce Wayne, I don't know who it is. Also, welcome in Antiskew and Kenobi. I don't know who the voice actor is, but the performance just isn't there for me. Like, and once again, this is me being hypercritical of something that I love, but it's not Will Arnett, and it's not someone doing like a good Batman voice either. It's a very like what is the word I'm looking for here? It's just kind of like a silly thing. It's played off for laughs. Like, the voice is like, oh, I'm talking gruff because I'm Batman. It's like, great joke. I'm laughing my ass off right now. LMAO. And like, I feel like Will Arnett would just bring more life to this character. Like, right now, it just feels like someone who's reading the lines of Bruce Wayne and or Batman. I don't feel that way about every character. Like, I feel like Jim Gordon has a pretty good voice actor attached to him, and I feel like Alfred is doing the job as whoever's playing Alfred. Like, that's fine. But your main core character in the game just isn't giving a strong performance for me personally. And I would say the same thing about Talia al Ghul. She also just feels really phoned in. Like, hey, we need a relatively Middle Eastern sounding woman, and they got one, and it's fine, but it's not like a good performance. Like, when you have a game like this that looks as good as it does, like there's such detail in the graphics, and like it plays well, all things considered. Like, sure, it's a basic game, but it plays well. It looks great. Has a nice soundtrack to it, classic soundtrack to it. Like, I need these things to start to really come together, and what makes that all come together? Oh, let me see. Good voice acting, like competent voice acting at least, but we can't get that. We can't get that for this game. And you look at this, and here's where the Skywalker Saga really differentiates itself here. I felt like the voice acting performances in the Skywalker Saga far outweigh whatever's going on here. Like, they put those people who were imitating like Anakin and Obi-Wan and stuff like that, they actually put their heart and soul into it to try and sound like the characters are as best as they could. And I love that shit. Like, it worked for the most part. Like, there were some awkward lines here or there, but for the most part, Skywalker Saga didn't make me cringe out of my skin every time a character opened his mouth. For the Lego Batman, it's Batman. Your Batman is not a good Batman, and that just stings. That stings. That's like if Marvel's Spider-Man, the ones from Sony, that's like if they didn't get Yuri Lowenthal for Spider-Man, and they got like, I don't know, some random fucking Joe Mama off the street. Like, this is the kind of level of shit that I'm talking about. And maybe it's going to be fine for other people. I'm sure that the game is 100% fine for other people. And I know that I am in a slight minority here, and I know that everyone has their own video game opinions. But to be clear, this has nothing to do with like the development team or anything like this. This is everything to do with whoever is leading the charge and directing the voice actors. This is 100% on them. And I feel like they kind of failed at their job here. And I'm not saying this to try and shit on anyone in particular, but at the end of the day, your product is what I am reviewing. And this product just is not hitting on the right notes almost at all for me right now. And it really makes me sad because this not this game, and this is an ad playing right now. This game was my most hyped game for this year because I am such a big fan of Batman. I am such a big fan of this universe. I love the villains. I love the character itself and the intricacies that are associated with the character. I love the worlds and the places that you visit inside of that. I think Gotham City as a concept and as a city itself is real. It works in a modern setting. Like as much as I enjoy Superman, Metropolis just is not realistic at all. Like it doesn't have any of the grime or gruff that you would expect from a modern city. But Gotham, it reminds me of Cleveland. It reminds me of Cleveland, or where we'll name a city. You can kind of place Gotham into that architecture, and that's what kind of grounds the story, grounds the character. And once again, I'm probably being super like overly critical about this whole thing because it's a silly fucking kids game. But at the end of the day, like this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I love. This is what I have lived throughout like 15, 20, 25 years of my life being a super fan of Batman. And this is the shit that I get after waiting for a Batman game for this long. A good Batman. I just want a good Batman game again. We got Gotham Knights. That was shit. We got Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. That was fine. This was supposed to be my savior. This was supposed to be my Jesus H. Christ. And right now it is my devil. And it is not fun. And I think that's one of the main issues too. Is like it really just feels like I'm spamming the attack button. I don't really need to use any of my other like abilities. I don't really need to throw a batarang at someone. I don't really need to use a takedown move on anybody. I don't really need to counter anybody. Like your like focus meter for doing a finishing move doesn't even break if you get hit, which is just like insane to me. I'm playing on the hardest difficulty. Like I did this on purpose to try and give me the best shot of enjoying this game, and it's still not hard enough. It's still like just babies you so much. And the only place that I had any relatively any difficulty was during the Ra's al Ghul fight, but at the same time I didn't lose more than a heart. Like it wasn't like difficult. And you might be saying, Yummy, it's the first boss. What do you expect from the first boss? I don't know. I expect something unique, something interesting. But all Raish or Raj, whichever one you want to say, all that he does is the same attacks that his little ninja buddies do. And it's just like, okay, we're just copy and pasting here. And that's kind of bullshit. And even though I didn't like that the Skywalker Saga had so many levels that were just a boss fight, like the General Grievous fight or the Darth Maul fight or the Emperor Palpatine fight or whatever, at least those boss fights had something going on. They were unique. They had things that set them apart from the boss fights from the original game or from other Lego games. This one, it just like the Ra's al Ghul fight and whatever else you want to say. Yeah, it's just like your basic run-of-the-mill, like, okay, he does every move that the regular ninja characters do, and there's really nothing else other than that. And I guess on top of all of this, there doesn't really seem to be, like, anything really super detective-y about the game either. Like, I'm just kind of like, I'm waiting for something to like make it feel like Batman other than the look and the soundtrack, right? I'm waiting for something to make it feel like a Batman experience, and right now I'm just not getting that. I'm not getting that, and I'm getting progressively more and more annoyed as I'm playing the game. So much so that I paused the game to do something, and when I came back I was like, I'm good. And I knew that I was recording this podcast today, and I knew that I should probably play more of it. But at the time, I was like, nah, I'm good. I think I've played enough for today. And that was only 2 hours in. 2 hours in, I'm saying I don't need to play this game anymore. That is rough. That's fucking rough. I played through the entirety of Skywalker Saga. Did I enjoy the entire thing? No. But it kept me interested enough that I was playing through it, right? Probably because, it kind of was a brisk playthrough, all things considered. It was a lot of, like, run from here to here and then do a boss fight level or a vehicle level, which are relatively quick. Right? these levels feel very plotting. They feel very bloated. They feel like they just kind of do the same thing over and over again. You have a section where you're going in stealth. You have a section where you're fighting a bunch of goons. There's a section where you need to build something by breaking a bunch of boxes and then just holding down triangle to build it. Like, once again, there's really not been anything. There's been like no puzzles. There's been hardly any brain teasers in here. Like, nothing like that. Like, the hardest thing that they did was this puzzle where it's like a door with 4 panels, and the wheel spins and it moves 2 of the boxes at the same time. And then if you spin the other wheel, it spins all 4 at the same time. And that was the hardest thing that they could think of for this game so far. And I got through it relatively quickly because, you know, I am an adult and I'm playing a children's game. Which I will continue to say over and over again. Yes, this is a game for kids. I get that, but also, like, you can make a game for kids that has substance to it. I talked about this with the My Friend Peppa Pig game. I've talked about this with the sequel to that game. I've talked about this with a lot of different games designed for kids. You can have a good kids game that has things going on, things for multiple different audiences, while keeping it at its core a kids game. I mean, gosh dang, dude, like, there doesn't need to be this level of stupidity. Is that a word? In this fucking game. You can make it for both audiences. And the way to fix that is to take out the poop and fart jokes, okay? Maybe hit it with a bit more serious tone in the moments that need to be serious, and you can still do your sight gags and your whoopee cushions and whatever the fuck you want. But at the same time, like, give it a little bit of that spin that is with every other iteration of Batman. Even the other Lego Batman games have serious moments in them, and I've played through them multiple times now. I can tell you right now, the entire game is not all sunshines, rainbows, and poop jokes. There are some serious moments in there that have peril and whatever, but apparently they can't do that anymore. Apparently it just needs to be poop and fart jokes, so we give our kids fetishes, okay? And it's just fucking annoying. It's fucking annoying. And once again, I'm being hypercritical because I love Batman. Oh, shame on me. You know who else loved Batman? Whoever the reviewer was for any website like IGN or anything like that, those people probably love Batman too. Do they love him on the same level as I do? Maybe not, but they do. And their thoughts and stuff are valid. And you know what? If you want to listen to them, you can listen to them. But you come here to this podcast for my opinion. And in my opinion, this is a boring, bloated, fucking piece of garbage right now. And it just kind of shits all over Batman. And it has the worst voiced Batman in quite some time. And it is just so fucking unfortunate that I was so hyped for this game just to be really burned at the stake right now. Like, just really fried to a crisp. Like, this is just not hitting on any fucking level for me, and it just really annoys me a lot. Because I wanted this so badly to be a good game. I wanted so badly for this to be the ultimate Batman experience, the one that I'll go back and treasure and cherish. But at the end of the day, I just wish that I was playing one of the Arkham games right now. One of them. I don't care if it's Arkham Origins at this point. I will fucking play that 5 times over having to play another fucking hour of this and sit through a fucking cutscene that's showing me how to fucking do a puzzle or where to go or a fucking poop and fart joke. I will take 5 playthroughs of Arkham Origins, which is my least favorite Arkham game, by the way. I will play that game 5 times in a row, 100% before I want to go back and play this game. Will I go back and play this game? Yes, I will give this more chance, of course. But I'm just saying right now, after 2 hours of playing, I would rather be doing anything else right now. Fuck it. I might even go back and play Gotham Knight before I continue playing this game. Like, that is just how disappointing this has been. So yeah, it's just so unfortunate. And I guess the problem with the statement that Kenobi said, good games are indie games now, you're not going to get an indie Batman game. You might get an indie-like Batman game, but Batman is AAA to its core, much like how Spider-Man is, and any other one of those characters. But once again, I will reiterate: like, you can make a kid's version of Batman. You just got to do it well. You got to do it right. You got to do it right. You can have a funny Batman game, and just keep it consistent. Like, just do it in a way that's not going to be super fucking annoying, or at least respect the source material just a little bit, right? Like you did with the Skywalker saga. You had the jokes and stuff in the Skywalker saga, but you still respected the source material. You still went in and hit the plot points and had the kind of sinister moments with the goofy moments. Like, you had the good mix there. This is just all goof all the time. And if I was Mickey Mouse, that would probably be fine. But I'm not Mickey Mouse. I'm fucking Yummy the Ferret. And I don't want that shit. I don't want 100% goof 100% of the time, because then it just turns into a fucking terrible kids game. And that's what this is right now. It's just a bad kids game. It's just what it is. It is what it is. And maybe someone will listen to this, and maybe they'll be completely in the opposite direction. That's fine. Once again, this is my show. This is my pot. You come here for my opinions. I'm giving you my opinion. I'm not gonna go online and Google what should I think about Lego Batman, because you know what? That wouldn't be genuine. I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna give my honest fucking thoughts about anything. And if that means I'm gonna give my honest thoughts about this, and I'm gonna criticize this because I feel this way, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to make up shit that I don't believe. And that's a Yummy the Ferret promise. You can come here and you can get an honest fucking review. You can get honest fucking thoughts. And these are my honest fucking thoughts. You can tell I'm passionate about something when I start swearing every other word. That is how you know I am passionate about something, because I just keep swearing over and over and over again. Whew. A lot of this game could be fixed with a better script, one, and two, Will Arnett. That's like literally just hire Will Arnett. You've already spent so much money and so much time really meticulously designing this game. Like, this is the most detailed Lego game since the Skywalker saga, which is like duh, but also like, yeah, it looks good. It looks great. Like, the environments, the character models, the different costumes, like all that stuff really does look fantastic. There's a positive there, right? But that's only going to take me so far, right? That's only going to take me so far. As soon as your main character opens their mouth and I just don't believe that's Bruce Wayne and or Batman, I'm out. Put Will Arnett in there. That's all you need to do. That's all you need. And no hate goes towards the developers. No hate goes towards the voice actors. No hate goes towards anyone. These are my personal thoughts. I know maybe I sound like I'm attacking people. I'm not trying to attack anyone. I'm just saying, like, there's so many things that I would change about this game right now as it is. And you might also be saying, like, it hasn't been long enough. You haven't been playing the game long enough to really give a genuine, like, first impression. I would tend to agree with that, but also at the same time, I can tell you right now, whatever's going on screen right now is going to be the entire game. It's just going to be a slow, plodding kids game that just doesn't shake up the formula at all, and it's going to be very by the numbers and safe, and that's all you're going to get. So this is my recommendation. Just play any of the Arkham games. Night, City, Asylum, VR, the one for the Oculus that I haven't played. I've never played that one, but play it. Origins, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League. Like, I play that over this one. At least that has like some fun, color effects in there and shit. And I also think the voice acting in that game is actually pretty good, all things considered. Yeah, that's all the Arkham games. Yeah, play all those games before playing this. And if you want like an honest, like, okay, well, maybe I don't want to play those games. I played those games enough. Okay, well, there's like a million like different Batman experiences that you can have, including watching the animated TV show. One, I mean, I would definitely recommend that over this. Watching any of the Dark Knight trilogy, even though I'm not a huge fan of Dark Knight Rises. Like, I obviously think there's a lot of things wrong with that. Like, you just watch that trilogy. Watch The Batman and the Penguin show. Like, that's gonna be better than whatever this is. read any of the current comics or past comics, really. You're probably going to get a good story out of any of those. The only thing right now that's kind of an iffy thing in the Batman comics universe is the detective comics right now. It's kind of just been like a meh story for quite a while. Several different plot lines, but it's just kind of been like over and over again. It's just kind of been like meh, 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 meh. But the current run of Batman is pretty good. The current Absolute Batman is fantastic. Like that's killing it in sales and everything, and I stand fully behind the Absolute Batman. Justice League with Batman, good. It's not my favorite thing ever, but it's good. Anything like the New 52 early run is going to be better than this. Pretty much anything up through year 0 is kind of what you want to look for in the New 52. There's plenty of classic books like The Killing Joke and Nightfall, and there's a whole bunch of different things there. There's plenty of different animated movies to watch, like Batman and Robin. There's a million. There's a million animated movies now. Gotham by Gaslight, stuff like that. There's also plenty of TV shows. Like, even though I don't enjoy all of Gotham, I do feel like there are some things in the source material that get very wrong, like Professor Strange building all of Batman's villains. It is still a good show. It has one of the best Joker performances that I've seen. That's not Heath Ledger or Jack Nicholson. Watch the original Batman movies. Like, even Batman and Robin, like the one by Joel Schumacher. Like, there's something there. Like, it's got like that so bad that it's kind of good quality to it, right? It's got some really shitty effects in there, but hey, whatever. Batman Forever, like that's a pretty fun movie. Jim Carrey as the Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. Like, that's fun. The original Batman from '89 and the sequel Batman Returns, like those are two classics. Like, you can't go wrong there. That's going to be better than this. There's also the Batman series, the show and the movie from the '60s with Adam West. Like, that's all good stuff. I mean, that's a funny take on Batman that kind of that respects the source material and has its moments. Like, that's better than this right now. What else? There's plenty of different collections of comic books as well. They have the DC's doing this new like $9.99 deal that includes an entire run of a series, and that's like a phenomenal deal. Make sure you pick those books up, especially the Batman ones. Those ones are really good, but there's also plenty of other things too. Anything else I'm forgetting right now? I don't think so. I think we're pretty much good there. So everything I just listed, go for that over Lego Batman right now, because you're gonna have a more entertaining time. If you have a kid who's looking to get into the Batman, there are also plenty of children's versions of Batman stories to read and play through as well. Like, even that DC superheroes game that came out a couple years ago that was delisted recently had a better version of Batman than what's happening here. As for like kids comic books, like there's Batman teaming up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's Batman teaming up with actually the Justice League teaming up with Sonic characters right now. There's all these different like cool little fun stories for kids out there too, including Batman, and they cover the source material better than this. There's at least no poop and fart jokes in the TMNT crossover or the Sonic universe crossover. Like they still take Batman as a bit of a serious character, even though they shoot the piss a few times. It's still respectful, right? And once again, this is me being hyper critical of this, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of people out there who might be listening to this going, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. That's fine. Whatever. Anyway, that's Lego Batman, the Legacy of the Dark Knight, and as you can tell, not super pleased with it. Not super pleased in the slightest right now. Yeah. All right. Let's load up here. We're gonna turn over to something that is a bit more positive for me. Let's go to the first review for this version of the show. Why did I put an S at the end of that? It's just a review, not reviews. Just a review. So Saros. We're gonna talk about Saros here. I have been pretty much religiously playing this for a couple. I mean, I'm for 2 weeks now. I don't want to say 3 weeks. 3 weeks is not right. But about 2 weeks now, and I poured my heart and soul into this game, which is very different from how I felt with Returnal. Hello. There we go. We'll skip ahead in the footage. This footage. Is coming from the Rad Brad. I want to make sure I shout out the creators here. So anyway, yeah, Saros. I'm gonna try and talk as freshly about this game as I can. I know I've had 2 episodes now of talking about Saros. But as for reviewing purposes, I'm going to cover some ground that I already have covered. But essentially, Saros, it's by the same people who did Returnal. Returnal, if you don't know what that is, it's a relatively hardcore third-person action shooter. That's a roguelite as well. And if you die, you have to redo, the entire game essentially. And you want to make sure you upgrade your character and find different things here and there. So they took the idea of Returnal, which I think on paper, good idea. It's good. I like the monster designs in Returnal. I think the main character in Returnal is good. Like, I don't mind the character. I think there's some cool visuals in there, like the house randomly appearing like in this alien world and stuff like that. Like, there's some cool stuff in there for sure. But it never really connected with me. I thought the gameplay wasn't like really it wasn't really my cup of tea for this one. I felt like the game, it just took too long to get back into another run. Like, yeah, you started kind of right away, but also at the same time, you still had to like rebuild your character up. And I thought that it was like, yeah, it was missing a little bit of some of that pizzazz for me. I know other people had a lot more fun with the game, and I think Callus was another one who like gave it pretty high praises, and I love that for them. I love that for people. But every time I try and restart Returnal, I get locked back into that mindset of like, yeah, I'm just not having fun with this. I'm not enjoying this game. Like, I don't want to, hate play the game like I might be doing with Lego Batman. It's just one of those things where Returnal it never fully was working for me. And when they announced that Saros was coming out by the same company, Housemarque, I thought like, yeah, I'll probably skip this one. But then the more that they showed off about the game and the more they talked about the game, it kind of made me go, well, they might be fixing the things that I had problems with in Returnal. And they did. They fixed a lot of the problems that I had with Returnal. One of the main problems being the replayability. So one thing about roguelites is the fact that you're going to have to play through the game multiple times no matter what. A lot of times there's story reasons. A lot of times you're just dying in general. You're going to replay the game. You're going to want to enhance your character. You're going to want to do whatever, right? And with Saros, there are still those. There's still that layer of like, yep, you got to replay through the game if you want to get the best gear and have the best run possible. Play through you got to play through the rest of the game and blah blah blah. They do give you the option to just teleport directly to a place, which where's the fun in that, right? But for me personally, like the replays of the levels in the game, I'll call them, the areas you go to, actually was really rewarding. I felt like I was really getting a sense of true progression every time I booted up the run, and I really was feeling it when the boss fights were as, I'm going to use the word in a non-cringe way, as epic as they were. I mean, the first boss fight, it's a very good introduction to what the game is going to do in the future, right? It has a couple of different unique attacks. It is a completely unique enemy, and it has a very unique way of fighting it, where you don't actually shoot the monster until you take out its little like eyeball things around it, right? You shoot those first, and then it exposes its weak point while also still attacking you at the same time. And this was something that they did very well throughout the game. I feel like pretty much every boss fight, maybe -1, is really good in this game. And you can kind of pluck any of these boss fights out in a vacuum and be like, yeah, that was really fun. The only one I didn't really have a good time with was the one that was literally just a basic enemy, and they just souped him up. And that was like the 3rd or 4th boss fight. I forget which one it was, but they give you a relatively small arena, and then they're just like, yeah, just fight this big monster dude who's gonna have a dumbed down version in the future. And you might say like, well, they did that with Legion too. The Legion shows up multiple times, and I do say yes, the Legion does show up multiple times, but the boss fight with the Legion is unique. The version of the Legion that comes around just kind of like shoots yellow or blue shots at you here and there. But the Legion that is in the boss fight is very intense, and I feel like it's very unique for a boss fight in general. Like it has a unique vibe to it. And I can say that about multiple fights in this game. The boss fights really shine through. And I mean, look, if it was just the boss fights that were good with this game, I think that would be enough. But the other thing too is like the game is continuously like kind of throwing new things at you periodically. Like you're not going to get every version of the first area on your first couple of playthroughs. You got to kind of get through the game and unlock more things and do more stuff. And then once you go back to that first area, like say on another run or two, you'll start to see new versions of the areas. You'll see new enemy configurations. You'll see new puzzles to solve. Well, not puzzles, but platforming things to solve and stuff like that. So they continuously kind of like layer on top of the existing structure. They get you kind of used to the more basic stuff, and then they're like, okay, but now here's a hallway with lasers that follow you around, or here's an enemy group that is a bit of a unique configuration for what you've seen before. And then they also throw in the whammy of like, hey, you can go through this special doorway and do a harder version of a run and get through that and get some really good upgrades for your characters that'll help you in the long run. All these different things kind of combine together along with the boss fights to really make a nice, compact, but also fairly quick experience. And, I mean, I like to say like, yeah, I'm not like... it's not like I'm annoyed with games that are longer, right? But I do like a game that kind of gets to the point. It's got quick action, quick gameplay. It doesn't really faff around. It just kind of throws you in there, and that's the kind of game that kind of speaks to me above all else. You can say that about Donkey Kong, Bonanza, like that just kind of throws you into the game, gives you like the basics, and goes, okay, here you go. Same thing with like Inscription or with Psychonauts, or name any game that doesn't have like this super long ass tutorial. I keep Lego Batman is really on my mind right now, but like something that just kind of doesn't need to explain itself too much. It kind of gives you what you want within that first like run of the game, and then it builds off of there by having things be unlocked as you progress, like getting the grapple hook or being able to parry things by punching the red shots, or just all these different guns just kind of start appearing in the game because you're getting farther and you're getting higher level gear and stuff like that. Like all these things are kind of working together to really build out and flesh out this experience that starts out relatively simple, but then just grows and grows and grows into something that's really worth your time. And I'm sure Returnal is the same way. The problem is though is that once again Returnal just didn't vibe with me. It didn't really make me want to replay the game over and over again. Like with Saros, the only time I started to feel the burn was when I was going for the true ending, and I had to replay the final like section of the game again because I had gone through it once, and it doesn't change. Like the final section, there are unique areas that you travel through for that final area. But a lot of the same stuff does reoccur over and over again. So it was starting to get a little bit monotonous because it is a very tough ending section for the game. You don't have to play through the entire game to get through it. They allow you to go through a door. Actually, you can't even get to it through the regular areas. So you have to go through a door, and it kind of just throws you into the map. And you kind of go from there. It gives you high enough stats for the area, but you can of course upgrade your stuff as well. But that's where the game like started to like kind of lose me a little bit because it was like so much of this like repetitiveness of like going back in there, maybe playing for about 30 minutes or so, failing, or getting to the boss fight at the end, failing, having to redo this whole arguably most difficult section of the game over and over and over again. Like I think I was about 15 runs of doing that in where I finally beat the boss for the first time. And then the game was like, oh, but you didn't get the true ending, so you got to go back into the other areas, which is fine, and then redo that final section again, which I was a bit annoyed with because it's still difficult. Like even after upgrading my stats even more, it was still difficult, and I still kind of squeaked by the final boss fight because he hits hard. He has a lot of attacks. It's one of those bosses that's just kind of like throwing projectiles at you. It's obviously in a pattern still, but it's a very quick decision making and stuff like that, and noticing the patterns and stuff or what's going on. So it's very easy to just kind of like maybe get a little bit distracted or not see a certain motion on the boss and then get hit or whatever, and that's the end because you don't even have yourself revive during the final section of the game. You just have one life. You cannot revive or anything like that. You can use these world modifiers to make the experience easier. I did not touch that at all. I kind of kept the needle exactly in the middle, what they wanted it to be at. And maybe I'll use those modifiers for a later playthrough or whatever, maybe make the game harder or easier. But as of right now, I'm just kind of like satisfied with the game in general. Like I don't have any major criticisms for the game other than maybe like, yeah, the story is not super strong. Like it starts out a little bit flaky, but it kind of gets better, and then it kind of goes the direction that you're kind of expecting it to go. But at the same time, like it's not that big of a deal to me. Like it's still a fantastic experience. I think the acting and the story itself is well presented and good enough. It's just kind of more or less a little bit predictable. And yeah, I was spoiled as to what happens in the game, but I was really hoping the build up to this ending was going to be a bit more fleshed out. And they just kind of like were very on the nose with it, especially when you beat the boss, the final boss for the first time. It's very much like, oh, of course, of course, this is what happens. I don't want to spoil it, of course, but once you get there, you kind of know what I'm talking about. So let's go back a little bit. So I mentioned, being able to level up your character and different shot types from the enemies. This is all stuff that works together. So there's blue shots that can be blocked with your blue shield. You can turn on a shield anytime you want. And the shots will be absorbed and it'll give you special meter, which is a powerful attack that you can use. Sometimes it's a beam that comes out of your hand. Sometimes it's a bunch of multiple little fireflies that shoot towards the enemy and slowly takes their health away. Sometimes it's a powerful cannon shot or something like that. Like there's a bunch of different ones in there. My favorite was the one that you shoot out a shot and it makes like a black hole that absorbs projectiles for a short time. That one actually was a bit of a crutch for the final boss fight. I really tried to get that one when I could, and if I didn't have that, it was a bit more difficult because the shots weren't being absorbed. But yeah, I mean, that's the basic shot type is blue. Yellow shots can be blocked by your shield, but once they're absorbed into you, or if you get hit by them, it adds corruption to your health meter, which lowers your health. But if you use your special ability, it'll actually remove the corruption from your health bar, so you can actually heal back that health, which is a nice little give and take there. And then there's red shots. If you try and block a red shot with your shield, you'll get stunned for a second, and you'll lose all your special meter. Eventually down the road, you can do more than just dodging out of the way. You can actually punch the bullets right back at them, and it'll do like a parry move, which is very useful. And you can also do like a finishing move with your punch as well. As for leveling up your character throughout the game, there are these blocks that are blue and yellow and red, and they have different items in them. And once you break one open, you'll have things to enhance either your resilience, your command, or your drive. And each one kind of affects your character a little bit differently. Resilience is, of course, your health. Command is your shield strength. And drive is general, like mobility and stuff like that with the character. And each of these things have what's called ignorance to them. So if you level them up too much, the ability becomes an ignorance instead of being resilience or whatever. And what that does is now you can't, like, if resilience gets leveled into an ignorance, you can't see enemy health bars. If command gets leveled up into an ignorance, you can't see negative or positive effects for upgrades. If drive is turned into ignorance, if you die during your run, you lose all of your XP, not just a fraction of it. So there's different things kind of building on top of each other. So the farther you get in the game, the more relics you can attach to your character, but also at the same time, you're increasing that risk of over leveling and then having these negative effects associated with the positive things. Once something does turn ignorant, though, you can kind of go hog wild with it. So it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. But it does affect the game. Like when you can't see enemy health bars, it's hard to know when to truly push and keep fighting an enemy or to dodge, take a little break, run around a little bit, try and go after some other enemies. Right? That's one of the things there. With the command one, that's probably the most detrimental one in my opinion. That's the one where you can't see any negative effects that you're possibly picking up. That one, you can kind of screw yourself with that one, and it is more of a hindrance there. As for the drive one, that one's also pretty difficult, especially if you're early on, you get that. But by the time that I was getting drive and leveling up to arrogance, or ignorance, ignorance, it didn't really matter because I knew I was going to finish a run anyway. And also, if you get these negative effects, you can exit out of the world after beating a boss fight. So yeah, even though you have to restart your character, you can at least like get your XP and stuff and be fine. So the XP in the game is Lucenite. This is stuff that enemies drop. It's on the field for a short amount of time and then gets boosted into the sky. Of course, there's upgrades to keep it on the ground longer if you so desire. But this is stuff that you collect during the game and collect after the game or the run is over. During the run, it'll level up your character periodically, which will give you a health boost and just a stat boost in general. And then once you bring it back to your hub area, you can use that Lucenite to level up your character. And there's a whole skill tree that you use. And then there's also these purple spots on the skill tree that you need Lucenite for. And this is a rare resource or a rarer resource that is a purple glowing ball. And you pick that up. These actually you don't lose them when you die. Which is nice. You can keep upgrading your character even if you die, which is a nice thing. So the Lucenite and that stuff works together to build this skill tree, and it works really well. It's a really nice system. You can definitely feel the skill tree effects actually working on the character in general. Like after you level up your health a couple times or you add in like a new upgrade to your character, like you could really feel it start working. And that's a good thing because a lot of these games the upgrades seem minuscule, but in this one they actually seem to really help. I don't feel like I ever really truly had a tough time with the game. Like, of course, there was a couple of times where I had to restart a run or I died when I got to the boss fight for the first time. But usually the second time I got to a boss fight, I would make it through. And that's not me saying like I'm a god gamer or anything like that, but when you have a good run going, you kind of just want to keep going on. And there's a couple of bosses that I beat in my first time. There's a couple of bosses I died to the first time. There's a couple areas that are actually pretty difficult, like the Poison Swamp and the Cathedral. Like these are really tough areas that'll whittle you down. But the thing about it is that I was starting from the very beginning and upgrading my character throughout the entire game. If you start just at the Cathedral, which is technically the second to last place you go to, it's actually going to be more difficult for you to get through that because you have less upgrades. Even though they give you upgrades throughout that level, you're going to have way less upgrades. You're probably not going to have the best weapon you can get starting off. You're probably going to be a bit under leveled for the area too. So, starting from the beginning and going all the way through the game is actually not that bad of a thing. Like my longest run was 2 hours, and that's when I beat the Cathedral, because the Cathedral, like I said, it's like the last thing you do in the main game, and then you have, of course, the extra more difficult ending of the game. But essentially, like, yeah, I mean, by the time I got to the Cathedral, I was able to beat the second to last boss in one try, because I had gone through the entire game, I had upgraded my health enough, and I was well versed in what the game like. I was well versed in how the game was designed, so I could kind of tell what the boss was going to do. Obviously, there was surprises for sure, but I wasn't bogged down with like trying to figure out exactly how to beat the boss. Like it was pretty clear what you need to do. It's just getting there and doing it was the problem, and I was able to overcome pretty much most of the obstacles because I had enough health to take the damage, or I had enough skill to dodge around the moment-to-moment things that they were throwing at me. And like I said, it's not like I beat every boss in one go. There was a couple bosses I needed a couple tries to. Of course, the final boss, I think there was like 20 to 30 different tries in there for that one, combined, of course, from the 2 times I had to attempt it. But some of the bosses, I would kind of like watch what they were doing. I would fail my run, but then I would go back the second time and I would be fine. Or like there was when I went to go fight the Legion boss for the first time, I literally had like no health because the Poison Swamp was such a difficult area. It was a bit of a difficulty hike. So I got there and I was like, I think I got the boss down to its second health bar, but then it did this move where like the Legion circles around you and shoots red at you, and I didn't realize what was happening. So I punched one, but then it kept shooting me, and I ended up dying there. But the next time I went back, I had an assault rifle, and I had a special ability that helped with that, and I was fine. Everything was fine. I did a pretty good job, and I beat it on my second try. On stream, I was playing through like the second to last area in the main game, and it's the one that the final boss fight is this Cthulhian monster, and I did lose to that one a couple times. I think like 3 or 4 times to that one, but it was a very, very good boss fight. Like I thought that was like probably one of the best boss fights in the game, was that Cthulhu monster. It starts off attacking you with tentacles, and then it starts shooting waves of bullets at you, and then it has like all these special unique moves to it. And the different phases of it were also pretty unique as well, and I was really enjoying that. And also like the flow state that you get in when you're do a parry, then you block the blue bullets, and then you dodge around the yellow, and then you do another parry, and it all just kind of like flowed together in a really nice way. And that's when the game, like, I really knew that, like, yeah, this is definitely gonna be a game that I want to get like the true ending on. And I ended up doing that. I mean, was it worth it to go to the do the true ending? Yes, I do think so. The game obviously has the regular modern gaming criticism that I have for a lot of these games, which is, yeah, you get a roll credits and then there's more game to play. And this one does do that. And I think that it's because they just kind of have the credits play every single time you beat the final boss. But I really do feel like, yeah, I mean, we probably shouldn't have a credits roll until like the true ending, because the true ending was like, it gave you all of the character growth that you wanted throughout the entire game, like all in like this hour-long package. Which that's one of the reasons why I have a little bit of criticism about the story itself. Is like, yeah, there is like a lot of build-up, and then Arjun realizes what he did wrong, and then flips a switch, and he's like, "Oh, I'm good now." And it's just like, yeah, it's like, yeah, it's just a bit of a quick character change. In like with the rest of the game in mind, like it just felt really quick, really snappy. Because what they show of the story, you get story in kind of like little chunks and snippets. But once they do explain the story that's going on, like it really does come around in a good way. But Arjun's like character growth, it just happens really quickly compared to the rest of the game in its entirety. So that's kind of like my main little critique about the story. It also just kind of feels like it's there for a long time, and then it finally starts to do something with the story. But other than that, I think the story is fine in general. Yeah, graphically the game looks great. Enemy designs are fantastic. The music in the game, awesome, very synth wavy at times. Love that shit. Boss designs, fantastic. Sound effects, really well done. Level design just grows on top of itself, which I thought was really good. Fuck yeah! I mean, there's really not too much that I would say is a huge criticism for this game, and it kind of sucks that Saros is coming out at this time where there's a whole bunch of other things in the news right now. Like I feel like Mixtape overshadowed Saros pretty much because Mixtape had all that controversy around it, which is pretty annoying. And then also, like, I think, there's a couple other games that came out around Saros, like Subnautica 2 and stuff like that, and it just kind of is getting buried, which, like, oh, boo-hoo, AAA company, is getting buried under, like, some other games. Like, yeah, I get it. Like, I see the irony here. But also, like, yeah, I mean, it definitely is worth your time. I think it's definitely worth playing. And, it's just unfortunate that it's not getting all the flowers that I think it deserves, even though I've been trying my damnedest over here to like really hype it up and talk it up. But it's just me. It's my opinion, my thoughts, and to me personally, this is definitely a step up from Returnal. It's much more enjoyable. I feel like the runs, because they take a little bit less time to just like get going and start up, like it feels a lot better. There's a very small amount of time that's not in the Eclipse mode, which is the more difficult version of the levels. Just that like that first like section of the first area, every time you restart, you have to go through a normal part of that, and then you can turn it into the Eclipse mode and go right to the boss fight. But once that happens, you can pretty much just turn every single level into Eclipse after that, which is like really good. I like that because it adds the challenge back on top of it. And you have to turn it into an Eclipse on every level eventually. But because the Eclipse version of the game is so much more fun, so much more challenging, it's a no-brainer for me personally to just like, boom, just activate the Eclipse. Let's get the harder stuff going. We'll get more Lucenite. We'll get more Halcyon. We'll do all this stuff. We'll have a good time. So at the end of the day, comparatively to Returnal and stuff like that, I think this is well worth playing. I think that it's definitely worth your time. I think it's worth a playthrough. If you like third person shooters, I think it'll connect with you. If you like roguelites, I think it'll connect with you. If you were not a fan of Returnal, as I was not, maybe, but you like the idea of Returnal or the concept of Returnal, I would say give this one a try. If you didn't like Returnal at all, you hated the idea, you hated the concept, you hated everything about it, you're not gonna like this. A lot of what Saros does is borrowed from Returnal. Some enemy designs kind of look similar to the ones from Returnal. Like obviously the shot types and stuff like that. There's some similarities there from Returnal. So if you hated Returnal in general, you're probably not gonna like this because it is very similar in a lot of ways, but it just kind of does its own thing, and it just kind of like builds off of what Returnal set up. And I guess if you're like a brand new gamer and you don't know what to play, I would probably play something else over Saros simply because it is a hardcore game. I mean, it's not as hard as some other experiences you can have, but it's certainly not forgiving. I mean, there are forgiving elements and you can make the game more forgiving, but as a baseline kind of game, it is still like a bit of a hardcore roguelite at the end of the day. And that's kind of what kept me going through the game was the fun, repetitive nature, but not in a bad way. Repetitive as in like a good game. So at the end of the day, I'm giving this one a 4.5 out of 5. It could have been a 5 if the story was presented better and the game didn't make me fight the final boss fight 2 times. But I think in general, everything else about the game, perfect. I mean, it's a slight criticism to have to replay the final boss fight because I probably would have to do it anyway. I would have to do it anyway if I wanted to, play through more of the game and collect more resources. But yeah, at the end of the day, I was really impressed with it. I really enjoyed it a lot. And yeah, 4.5 out of 5. 2 thumbs up still, very much so. And definitely check that out if you so desire. All right. Okay, that is that. We are going to go ahead and move on to the next part of the show, and I need to be on a different screen. So let me just pop over to that. Yes, we got our first news for the day. PlayStation Plus is increasing its prices, of course. This is starting on May 20th, and this is only for new people to the service. This will not affect people who are grandfathered in, as you would say. But essentially, the price increase is a little bit steep, in my opinion. I know there's people who are defending this by saying like, "Oh, it's only like an extra $2 a month, right?" But if you're paying for this month to month or whatever, like or yearly, honestly, it does add up. It does add up. It's not just like a couple bucks. Like it does feel like more over time. So the 1 month subscription is going from about $10 to $10.99 a month, which that's not too bad in general. But the $3 tier, $24.99 going up to $27.99. Once again, doesn't sound too bad, but when you put it into perspective, like it does add up, and I don't know if the service is really giving us a good value for the price increase either. Let me read what PlayStation wrote on Twitter before I continue on. So they said starting May 20th, PlayStation Plus prices for new customers will increase in select regions due to ongoing market condition. Prices will start at $10.99 for 1 month or $27.99 for 3 month subscriptions. So essentially, I'm in agreement with a lot of people now. That's like, yeah, PlayStation Plus, like especially the Essentials tier, doesn't really add too much or doesn't have enough value. Like if I compare it to, even comparing it to like Xbox Game Pass, I still feel like that is relatively a good baseline like kind of subscription service. Like if you go in at what they call the like whatever their essentials tier is called, you still get like 25 relatively popular games and they get swapped around here and there. But it's still a good deal for what, like I think it's like $7 or $8 a month, right? If you go to the actual first tier for Game Pass, that includes the Game Pass library. I mean, that's hundreds of games for you to play. The problem with PlayStation Plus, the Essentials tier at least, is like, yeah, you get the access to the online gameplay, but at the same time, you get like 3 new games. You get 3 games a month. Sometimes they're not new, sometimes they are new, for no extra cost, of course. But if you weren't there to redeem the items for the past, 50 years of PlayStation Plus, you don't get to play those games. You don't get to add them to your account. You don't get to play them. And then the other thing too, much like with Xbox Game Pass, of course, is if you discontinue your membership, you don't get to keep the games. They're not going to be playable. So you have to have PlayStation Plus in order to play your PlayStation Plus given games. And like I said, it's kind of similar to Xbox Game Pass, except for the fact that you don't really own the Xbox Game Pass games. You're just renting them, essentially. You're playing them while they're on the service, right? And if you don't own the service, then of course you can't play them. But the difference is that PlayStation Plus, you add them to your account. You literally press a button to add to your account, yet it's not really adding to your account because you don't get to keep them if you cancel your PlayStation Plus service. And if you do re-up your PlayStation Plus service, you can get the access to those games back. But still, it just feels a little bit backwards to me. It's just a little bit weird. And I don't think there's really been a game released on PlayStation Plus Essentials that is really worth the price increase. Like, there hasn't been like a brand new game on PlayStation Plus that's been like a big first party game in quite some time. And there was even like rumblings back in the PS3 era when the PlayStation 3 was like starting to be phased out. Like, they were giving they like for 1 month of PlayStation Plus, it was like Arkham Asylum and like 2 indie games along with it. And people were pissed about that because Arkham Asylum at that point had been out for like 5 years. Like, if you haven't played the game, you probably already played the game. And if you hadn't played the game, you were living under a rock, right? So people were kind of pissed about that. And I kind of feel the same way right now, where it's like we're getting all these like stupid like sports games. Like you get WWE, which I know it has its fan base, don't get me wrong. But also you're getting like PGA Tour and tennis games and stuff. It's like these things are like NBA as well, the NBA 2K games. Like, these are games that I'll play once and then be like, well, that was stupid, or I guess that was a little bit fun, but I'm not going to go back to, right? I think Greedy Waffles and I played a rousing 2 games of NBA for the last one that was put on PlayStation Plus, and then we never went back to it because it's like, who the fuck cares? It's NBA. It's the same thing every year. It's not like that fun of an experience, all things considered. And I can say the same thing about the PGA games. Like, you play a couple rounds of golf, and you're like, well, I've seen everything this game has to offer, and I have no interest in doing the franchise mode or anything like that, right? So, yeah, I mean, the PlayStation Plus just really hasn't had the oomph that it needs for me to be like, yeah, I really think that this is a good deal. I just don't think that at all. And I still have the same thoughts about, like, the next tiers up, the PlayStation Plus extra tier and the premium tier. I feel like premium has maybe the best value out of all of them, but also has the biggest price tag. Yes, you get the game trials, you get the classic game collection, you get all the stuff from the extra games as well, but it also comes with like a bit of a price increase that really is like hard to say like, yeah, that's totally worth it. I think people still have PlayStation Premium in the Discord, but I really don't hear anyone like hyping it up anymore, right? Like at the beginning it was like, oh, it's cool, you can play all these classic games, but at the same time, I can just spend $10 and buy the classic game on the PlayStation Store. I don't need to spend $100 to play that one classic game that I want. It just seems like, yeah, I mean, we could add some more oomph to this whole service. And right now, it's hard for me to be like, yeah, I totally can't wait for my subscription to re-up next year. Like, I just can't do that. I can't be gung ho about that because there's really nothing to get excited about here. There hasn't been a PlayStation Plus Essentials game that's made me go, whoa, we're getting that in quite a while, because usually it's a game that I've either already played, or it's like a sports title, or it's one of those like multiplayer indie games that is like, it's going to be around for like a month or so and then it's going to die out. Like, there's a whole bunch of those cases that you can point to and be like, yeah, I just wish that it had some more pizzazz to it, had a bit more pizzazz to it. But as it stands, they're increasing the prices. I don't know what changing market conditions have to do with an online subscription service. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me personally, because I mean, it's not like you're adding in more servers for PlayStation Plus or anything like that. Like I don't think they're doing anything like that. I feel like it's an adequate amount of servers they have that's been running the service for quite a while. Like what are the changing market conditions? Just like wanting to increase the price of it. I will say too, and I'll probably talk about this later, but like having to pay for online is still like such a weird idea, like having access to online content, multiplayer and stuff like that. Because I'm already paying like $60 a month to Spectrum or AT&T. Like, why do I need to spend an extra $10 to $50 a month for PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo? Like, why is this a thing? And you can go all the way back to Xbox 360 when they were having you pay for Xbox Gold in order to play online. And yeah, that was a bad precedent. And I'll talk about Xbox in a little bit, but they are doing something possibly to maybe turn the clock back. We'll see. But as of right now, PlayStation Plus price increased, and I'm not like super crazy about it, and I wouldn't be crazy about it anyway, but I'm even less crazy about it because there's no, like, the price is going up, but the value is staying the same, if you get my drift. Next up in the news. So, Sony, aka PlayStation, is apparently going to shift back to console exclusives for single-player experiences. Think of games like Horizon, Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, God of War, etc. So this was apparently in a meeting with Herman Hulst, an internal meeting, but Jason Schreier of video game Bloomberg fame, Bloomberg news source fame, got the scoop, saying PlayStation Studio Business CEO Herman Hulst told staff in a town hall Monday morning that the company's narrative single-player games will now be PlayStation exclusive, confirming Bloomberg's report from last year. Now, I don't remember this report from last year. I probably talked about it. I just forgot about it. But this is something that you could see coming from a mile away. I don't think that Sony single-player games sell too well on Steam. I know that there is a relatively large player base, but I think that in general, like, when people think of playing God of War or think of playing The Last of Us, they're looking for, the console version, right? The PlayStation version. And I think that's just kind of like in general built into the gaming zeitgeist at this point. Some games just kind of have that connection to their respective parent companies, and a lot of the games that I've mentioned have that same kind of feel to them. Now, I've appreciated that they've been putting pretty much every game that they've been releasing on Steam and Epic Games. Like, I do appreciate that, and I think that opening the door to a lot of different players to play the games and possibly even mod those games isn't a bad thing at all. There's a lot of people who played God of War 2018 or Ragnarok or Horizon or Last of Us or Uncharted who never would have been able to play it because they were stuck on PlayStation consoles. And it does seem a little bit backwards to just kind of like axe the entire idea altogether. I think having the games come out a year later, like Spider-Man or whatever, is a good idea. You're not going to get the biggest blowback ever from releasing a PC port of the game because a lot of people have already played it on the console itself. But you do, open the door to more people playing a PlayStation game. And as we love to say, PlayStation first-party single-player games are usually worth playing. I don't think there's many of them at all that I would say are not worth playing. But the fact that PC and other console players are only going to be getting the multiplayer experiences now in the near future does seem a bit backwards to me. But also, it does make sense because the multiplayer games are going to cost the most to make, and they're going to have the hardest time reaching the player numbers that they want to. Just look at Marathon, just look at Concord, like look at anything multiplayer that has been put out by PlayStation other than like Helldivers 2, of course. I think Helldivers 2 is a bit of an exception there. But for the most part, I can understand them going back to having exclusive games for their console, but also at the same time, I don't feel like the PC market was really eating into the sales of PlayStation consoles and or PlayStation sales, game sales in general. I feel like this is just kind of like excluding a portion of the gamer world that does not need to be excluded. I feel like they can still work on these PC ports, just don't make as big of a deal of as you were. Like you look back at a lot of those different state of plays, and there's so many that's like, here's the last thing, The Last of Us Part 2 coming to PC, and like that was the big reveal. And it's like, who cares? Like it I mean, sure, there's probably gonna be PC players who are really excited about that, but like as like a close to final reveal, I don't give a shit. Like you don't just don't make as big of a deal about it. Release the games a year later, people will like it. You'll have a more credibility, street cred with the PC crowd. Everything will be fine. As it stands, once these games go back to being exclusive on the console, I think that there will be a dip of excitement about PlayStation games in general, and I do also think that, there's going to be a couple less sales here because you're not putting the PC port out there. And I understand it costs money, and maybe you're not making the money back from the PC sales. You're not making that development time back. I guess I get that, but also at the same time, like, does it really hurt you that much to port the game to PC just so more people can play it? Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, there's a give and take here. There's a big tug of war happening right here, and I feel like PlayStation is tugging the wrong way. I feel like they should just kind of like stay the course with having their games come out like a year later on the PC market, and I think that will I think that'd be good. I think that would be just fine. But as it stands, this is what their plan is going to be: multiplayer games staying multi-platform, but single-player games going back to being PlayStation exclusive. All right, let's move on to Xbox. All right, so Xbox fans shared their top 10 requests, and this was actually feedback that was put out there by the CEO of Xbox saying, "Hey, we want your feedback. We want the true gamers' feedback." And I don't think there's any. I don't think there was anything else that was going to be at the top of this list. But exclusives are the biggest thing here. From the top 10 here, we have exclusives at number 1. Backwards compatibility, which they already do at number 2, which is just kind of like a weird thing there. Make online multiplayer free to access. This goes back to me saying you shouldn't have to pay extra for fucking multiplayer because you're already paying for an internet service. I feel like this is a big thing here. I feel like if Xbox goes back, rewinds the tape, like let's say the next Xbox console comes out, the Project Scarlet or whatever it's Project Helix, whatever it's being called, and they say you don't need Game Pass or whatever to play online. I think that's an instant system seller right there. That's like literally like turning back the clock and reversing roles during the PS4 versus Xbox One era, right? Like PlayStation seems to be doing everything wrong right now, while Xbox is slowly rebuilding its brand to being something that's going to be worthwhile getting possibly in the future. But we'll have to see about that. I feel like, though, this probably should be closer than... I feel like this could be number 2 or number 1, honestly, in my book. Making multiplayer free to access would be great for the across the board. Just across the board be great for gamers everywhere, because now you're not specifically paying to just access online and play with your friends. Because, look, say what you want about Epic Games, Steam, any of those platforms that are PC-based. You can play those online, no strings attached. You can play Fortnite with your friends without having to buy an Epic Games subscription. You can play Helldivers 2 on the PC version without a PlayStation Plus subscription. You still have to have a PlayStation account, but you can play it without a PlayStation Plus subscription. Same thing for Arc Raiders or Overwatch from Blizzard, on the Blizzard launcher. Like, you can play all these games on PC without having to pay. Some of these games, I believe Fortnite might be one of them, allows you to play without a subscription service on those respective consoles, which is great. But most of the experiences that you're going to want to play with friends are going to require a online subscription. Same thing with like Nintendo stuff, like Smash Brothers. You got to pay to play online for some reason. And at least they've gotten better online connectivity on the Switch too. But for a while there, I would say Nintendo's online service definitely would not be worth the price of entry if we were still in the Switch 1 era and with how crappy the online compatibility or online accessibility was for that. But yeah, I mean, look, if Xbox takes away the need to pay for an online subscription in order to play games online with your friends, that could be a bit of a system seller, at least for me personally. People want more improvements to the achievement system. I'm not in the know-how for that. Maybe someone else can tell me what that's all about. Xbox Game Pass family plan. I think this is a great idea to have a family plan for Xbox Game Pass, have multiple accounts under the same household, be able to access games. I think that'd be great. Allow disc-based games with Project Helix. This is another thing that I feel like is a pretty big thing for me as well. If you don't have physical games, what's the point of having a console? I might as well just play your games on PC, right? But if there is a a disc drive on the newest or iteration of an Xbox console, I think that'd be great, built in and everything. I don't think it would be a problem if they have a dual console release again. Just make sure that both those consoles are on the same level, unlike the Xbox Series S, which was woefully underpowered compared to the Xbox Series X. Return of Xbox Avatars. This one I feel like doesn't need to be on here. Xbox Avatars was always a me ripoff from the get-go, and I don't think that like they ever really were that popular. I mean, during the Xbox 360 era, sure, it was fun to customize your avatar and earn clothing in the games you were playing. Like Rock Band, you could earn like the different Rock Band shirts, or like if you played Gears of War, you could get like what was it, like a tick or whatever. You could have like one of those like little pet ticks. If you played through the hardcore mode or whatever, they would give you that stuff for free, which is a cool idea, sure. And I would love to see it come back, but also like, do we really need Xbox Avatars to come back? I don't know about that. HDR dashboard. This is one that I don't really know about either. So maybe someone else can clue me in. Lower the price of the system. This is another big thing here. Xbox is a company that's based in the United States of America. You don't need to pay extra fees to ship it to your customers that are in the US, so I don't feel like price hikes on these consoles is a really good idea at this point. Same thing too, like Xbox, I've talked about this before when Xbox raised their prices on this Xbox Series line of games, consoles, and the fact of the matter is that Xbox does not sell as well as Nintendo or PlayStation or the PC market, so why are you raising your prices so much? It does not make sense. If the next console comes out and it's $700, I'm skipping it. If the next console comes out and it's like $500, I'm thinking about it, right? So there is a big difference that like $200 to $100 can make there. And if they have a lower entry fee for the system and they promise to actually utilize these fucking studios that they have and give us games that we want to fucking play, then yes, I will be more apt to switch back over to Xbox. But as of right now, the price of systems across the board is pretty outrageous. I think Nintendo still is winning that console race right now with the Switch 2 being still a pretty decent price point, all things considered. Like, it's not my favorite price point ever, but compared to what PlayStation and Xbox are selling their consoles for, I think it is actually quite affordable for the general population, I would say. And then finally, number 10 here, allow Xbox to record voice chat clips on my console. I mean, that's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I don't really care about that one. But I think that like the feedback they got here is pretty good. I think that like 8 out of the 10 here holds some merit. Maybe even like 7 out of 10 here hold some merit. And I think there are things that Xbox should improve upon for sure. And seriously think about if they want to really make a dent in the console market next generation. They have to really take into account I would say most of these things. Really take into account most of these things. And the biggest one is obviously going to be price, but also if they come out and they say, "Hey, multiplayer is going to be free to just access multiplayer," I think that's a good idea. Plus, I feel like at this point, let's say they do offer online free, I think that also opens the door to a lot more people just like sign up for Game Pass in general. If they have a console, like I have the console, I might as well sign up for Xbox Game Pass. I think that's a big thing too. And yeah, I mean, I think that Xbox could get itself out of the weeds here. They've been in third place in the console race since the PlayStation 4 and Xbox War, right? Xbox One War. They really never really recovered from that because of all the bad press that they gave themselves. I mean, think back to the Xbox One's launch, right? There was no backwards compatibility. You couldn't they had this whole thing of like you couldn't share games or sell games to GameStop, right? They obviously fixed that before it came out. The Kinect was like you had to have a Kinect connected to your console at all times. That was crazy. They were saying like, oh, it's an all-in-one thing instead of just a video game console. So like people were like, well, is it going to be powerful enough to run games? Like, what's the point of having like a cable TV running through my Xbox, right? So yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff that I think Xbox can and is already improving upon, and we'll see what else they do in the near future. All right, more news. This will probably be a short one here. Nintendo is planning on being at Gamescom this year. This is like the second year in a row. Gamescom is the show that happens in Germany. This time, the event is happening between the 26th and the 30th of August. So yeah, Nintendo is going to be on the Gamescom floor, and we don't know what they'll be showing off, but people are speculating that there will be some hands-on stuff with Elden Ring Tarnished Edition, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Hollow Knight Silk Song, Hades 2, Pokemon Legends, Metroid Prime 4. I mean, there's some things that have already released on this list for some reason. But I would expect to see maybe a bit of a surprise here, possibly. I think Elden Ring is the biggest one, though. This is one that I guess I should talk about that next. I'll probably just talk about it now since I'm talking about Nintendo. But Elden Ring is a pretty big one that seemingly is still coming out this year. Same thing with the Dusk Bloods. Apparently, an update from Kadokawa said, From Software is expected to contribute with Elden Ring Tarnished Edition as well as the Dusk Bloods, both slated for 2026 release for the Nintendo Switch 2. A completely new title. We will work to further expand the fan base globally. Like that's what he said. Apparently they're still set to release. I feel like if they release Elden Ring too late in the year, they're not going to also want to release the Dusk Bloods at the same time. I feel like those are two games that will be at odds with each other on the console, even though there's a lot of people who have played Elden Ring and there's a lot of people who are more interested in Dusk Bloods, of course. I guess, baseline interested because we really haven't heard much about it. But I feel like if you release Elden Ring in tandem with the Dusk Bloods, it's just not going to be a good sales day for either game. I think that having Elden Ring be playable at Gamescom is a good sign that it'll be coming in summer, and probably the Dusk Bloods will release closer to the October timeframe is my guess, unless it's been pushed back. It's very possible it could have been pushed back too. But as of right now, they're both slated to release in 2026 at some point. All right. What's next? Okay, so we have a preview for Hell Let Loose Vietnam. This is coming from, of course, the publisher Team 17. And if you don't know what Hell Let Loose is, the original game was a World War II hardcore shooter, first-person shooter, very much teamwork-based and stuff like that. And Hell Let Loose Vietnam is, of course, the same idea, but in Vietnam. So there was another game series that did a Vietnam iteration called, I think it was Rising Sun. Red Barchetta was the Soviet version against the Germans, and Rising Sun was Japanese versus the U.S., but I believe they did Rising Sun Vietnam. And even though Rising Sun Vietnam was a decent hardcore shooter, it was not a good hardcore shooter. It was very much lacking what the World War II versions of the same game had to offer. Hell Let Loose Vietnam, though, is looking like a more full experience, and I do tend to like Hell Let Loose a bit more than like Rising Sun and stuff like that. I think that I think from what we've seen in the gameplay, it does look pretty good. Now there is a bit of a difference here with the eras, right? You have more automatic rifles and stuff like that. So the game being a hardcore shooter, it probably is going to be a bit more difficult to get into over the World War II version because, World War II still had bolt action rifles and semi-autos over like SMGs and stuff like that. And I'm sure the class system will balance things out at the end of the day. But also, like, most grunts in Vietnam had an M16 in their hands or an AK-47 if you're talking about the Vietnamese forces, right? So I feel like I'm sure there will be other classes in the game with like M14s and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, who's going to want to use a semi-automatic rifle or whatever over a full auto rifle at the end of the day? There might be a little bit of discrepancy there. I don't know, but that was one of the main problems with the Vietnam version of like Rising Sun, where it's like yeah, you have like all these automatic weapons, and of course you're just going to use the automatic weapons because what's the point in using a bolt action or something like that in these close combat situations? So hopefully Hell Let Loose doesn't go into that trap. Hell Let Loose is also like a cool game series because it's more so about taking points and like attack defend type things, and you have like a big battlefield to kind of cover with multiple squads, and I feel like that in general will help with it not just being like two sides kind of being pit against each other and going back and forth like that. It's more so like a big map that you kind of go from point to point to point, which is cool. I never played 83, Vietnam 83 or whatever it's called. So I do not have a place to say if it's going to be better than that. But I mean, I have faith in this developer. They did a great job with the original Hell Let Loose. They supported it for quite some time. They are still supporting it actually to this day. And the game is coming out June 18th digitally, and physically it is coming August 4th to Steam, Xbox, PlayStation, and Epic Games. I will most likely be getting it on Steam if you want to play it with me. Let's read some press release here. Hell Let Loose Vietnam features intense jungle warfare set during one of history's fiercest battlegrounds in real-world locations, recreated with unrivaled authenticity. At launch, players can expect 6 distinct large-scale maps with dynamic terrain and weather variants, immersive 50 versus 50 battles where strategy, squad cooperation, and teamwork take precedence over individual heroics, destructive, historically accurate weapons, vehicles, and tactical options, including new U.S. aerial units and resourceful NVA forces. So that means there's probably going to be like traps that you can make for like the Vietnamese forces and napalm bombings by the U.S. Air Forces. Dynamic gameplay experiences where both sides can hunt the enemy through Vietnam's complex river network with heavily armored patrol boats. So that's also a cool thing as well. So it does feel like they're taking like inspiration from Battlefield Vietnam, that expansion for Bad Company, but of course they're expanding it and putting their own spin on it, of course. But I think this is looking really good. I don't think there's going to be anything else to say about it other than like, yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm definitely going to get it day one, and maybe you will too. I don't know what the price tag on it is. It's probably going to be like a $40 game, but apparently there's an open beta eventually. Probably not yet. Callus, how you doing today? All right, more. Oh, actually, this one's coming soon. All right, so we all know Grand Theft Auto was causing games to delay and whatever, and now apparently Mina the Hollower is causing other games to delay. Now, this is a little bit different, and the article is a bit misleading with this title. Let me tell you my thoughts. So there's a game called Dark Scrolls coming out. It originally was slated to be coming out, I believe, sometime this month. And Mina the Hollower is also supposed to arrive in May. So in May 29th, Mina the Hollower is supposed to come out. So this one's coming from Devolver Digital, of course. And Devolver did just put out another game with Heave Ho 2, right? What the hell was that? With Heave Ho 2. And I feel like it's better that they widen the gap between game releases, of course, because you want to make sure you keep the people as fresh as you can. I don't feel like yeah, they're delaying the game most likely because of Mina. Like I get it. You know, Mina is obviously a big game. I don't feel like Dark Scrolls is like that crazy of a game that it like even releasing a month after Mina, like I don't think the sales are going to be that good anyway, and that's just me being realistic here. Like this is the first time I'm hearing about Dark Scrolls, okay? And maybe I did see it before in like a Devolver Direct or something like that. I don't remember it though. And this is like the biggest news that they could get for this game. And honestly, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, what do you want me to say? It's a 2D side scroller game, hardcore roguelite type thing. And yeah, they delayed it because Mina the Hollower is coming up. Like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like that. Like if Mina the Hollower wasn't releasing around the same time as this game, would it be getting hype and fanfare? I don't think so. I don't think it's getting fanfare right now because it's a game that hasn't really been in my feed. But of course, you want to move your stuff away from the bigger release in Mina the Hollower. But at the same time, like, I don't know if the sales are going to be good for this game anyway. I hope for the best, of course. I always hope for the best. But this just seems like a bit of like a, do we really need to do this type thing? Because I don't know if it's going to sell that well anyway. In a post, they said there's room for 2 pixelated fantasy action games in this world. You're just going to have to wait a little longer for this one. And it'll be worth it because you can play as a rat with a saxophone in ours. Thanks for understanding. See you in June. So yeah, June 22nd is when Dark Scrolls is coming out. And I mean, the art style looks fun, the pixel artwork and stuff like that. I'm sure it'll be a fun game. And, maybe just to spite myself, I'll pick it up. But, yeah, I just don't feel like it's really worth, like, moving it away from Mina unless they needed to work on the game more and they're just using the whole Mina thing as, like, ooh, we're delaying because of Mina. Oh, wink, wink. But, yeah, that's that. All right, we got another. Surprise, Nintendo is releasing a new mobile game, which I feel like is kind of in the same vein as their 1-2 Switch series a little bit. But this one is coming exclusively to mobile phones. It's free to start, which is kind of weird. It almost has like a same vibe as like a WarioWare or something like that, which is actually stated right here. Ooh. But essentially, you put yourself into the game and you can manipulate the photos and stuff like that to have little fun adventures with your friends and stuff. It does very much remind me of like a 3DS, the 3DS, like, what's it called? You would take like a picture with your camera of your face and it would put you in the game, right? Very much reminds me of that. But this is obviously more akin to something like WarioWare or 1-2 Switch or something like that, where it's like a mini, it's a little bit of a party game, right? It's interesting that it's a free to start experience, meaning that you're probably going to unlock more features by paying for it, which is really weird for a game like this. I mean, what more is there to offer? Like, what's going to be a truly worth an extra price tag for this mobile game? I mean, unless you have like kids who are playing around with it, like I don't see an adult or even a kid like wanting to pay more for this like game that just uses your face and you manipulate your face. Like I don't feel like there's really a reason for that. But apparently there are 80 mini games with different ways to play. Here is the description of the game. You can try a few mini games for free or purchase volumes to unlock up to 80 mini games in total, ranging from easy to pretty tricky. Get ready to laugh out loud when you look back at old photos. You can even take photos with friends on the spot and use them right away. So yeah, this is just something that's like, I kind of feel like this could just be a free-to-play type thing. I don't, like, okay, so this is also pretty concerning. There's fucking coins in the top corner, which means there's probably an in-game currency you can buy as well. Here's some more information about this. An internet connection is required for the first time you launch the app. You can play offline after that, but a network connection is required for the following situations: when launching for the first time, when changing region or country, when purchasing game volumes. A network connection may also be required in the following situation: when checking for app updates, when backing up or restoring saved data, when completing achievements in the Google Play Game Store, when accessing photos stored in iCloud. So it's nice that you don't have to be online 24/7, but the fact that you need to be connected to the internet on your first connection is kind of weird. So you should read some of the minigame names. Do you have a list of the minigame names? If you post it in the Discord, I'll read through it. Let's see. I'm sure they're nothing there. Game volumes. Okay, I don't think this is it. store listing. All right, well, I can't find the list of games easily, accessibly right now, but for future reference, if you have something like that that's going to interest me, make sure you throw that into the Discord so I can check it out. Let's go ahead and move on to more, I guess, coming soon. Because the Mario Galaxy movie is officially coming to digital and 4K and Blu-ray May 19th, video on demand. So it's actually already available right now. You can also purchase the 4K Ultra Edition and Blu-ray right now as well, June 16th. Here are some exclusive, this is all in capitals, so I'm going to yell this. Exclusive bonus features when you get it at participating retailers. Next level, making the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Go behind the scenes of this epic journey across the cosmos as the visionary creators at Nintendo, the acclaimed filmmakers and artists of Illumination, and the extraordinary cast who redefine these iconic characters. Yeah, Chris Pratt. Woo, he's so cool. Reveal the artistry behind every meticulously crafted moment. Cast of characters! Explore how this impeccable cast... This impeccable fucking cast, yes, embodied the iconic Mario Bros. Characters, honoring their legacy while captivating audiences across generations worldwide. Oh, yeah. Exploring the galaxy, guided by the filmmakers and cast, audiences embark on a journey through the film's most iconic settings, revealing the thoughtful layers of nostalgia embedded in each one. Galactic thematics. The emotional core of any Super Mario Bros. Film lies in its relationships. This piece delves into the bonds between characters, examining the alliances that are tested, the connections that are broken, and those that endure and evolve forever. Cosmic tunes. Some sounds are unmistakably Super Mario Bros. Composer Brian Tyler invites audiences inside his creative process, blah, blah, blah. Power-ups. There's no greater tool in the galaxy than perfectly timed power-up. Take a closer look at many power-ups featured. Okay, it's stupid. Galaxy, Secrets of the Galaxy, brimming with cleverly hidden Easter eggs. All right, I'm done with this. Fuck this shit. So cleverly hidden that we had them in your fucking face the entire time. Oh, our cast of actors really embodied Mario. Yeah, Chris Pratt really gave his all for this one. Fuck you. Also, for a list of special features on a DVD, this is really mundane stuff you can just watch on YouTube. I'm pretty sure most of this stuff is available on YouTube anyway. And I'm sure it will be available on YouTube once the Blu-ray and DVD come out, or 4K DVD. There you go. If you want that, you can have it. And if you want to know my thoughts on the Mario Galaxy movie, you can check that out on 2 or 3 episodes ago now. All right, we have some unfortunate news here. Lego 2K Drive is officially getting removed from storefronts, and the online servers are being shut down. I do not know why exactly. This seems like a game that should have probably been a forever type game, but they tied it to online servers, which means that, yep, once it loses its popularity, it's just going to be shut down, which is stupid and unfortunate. So here is what the PlayStation Store listing says. This product will no longer be available for purchase as of, yesterday, the 19th of May. Note, all multiplayer servers for Lego 2K Drive will be shut down May 31st, 2027. After that time, all game functions requiring online servers will no longer function, which is stupid because it's a Lego game. Like, come on. 2, when I played it, there really wasn't anything that really was mandatory for the online connection. The online connection was there for you to connect with your friends and other people in the world, but you could totally turn this game into an offline game. Talk about, stop killing games. This is a prime example right here. This is a fully fledged Lego game that has a story mode and all that stuff to it. The only problem is that it requires a connection 24/7 online for whatever reason. And simply turning that connection off or making the game work without that being on shouldn't be that hard of a task. But the problem is that Lego and the developers behind this game don't want to take the time and resources and money to make that happen. So instead, they're just shutting the game down in general. and making it unbuyable and mostly unplayable. So it's pretty stupid. It's pretty stupid. I thought the game was fine when I played it. I didn't finish it because, once again, it was a pretty basic kart racer at the end of the day. But, yeah, pretty stupid. Pretty stupid that is happening. And one more thing here for today, folks. For the news, at least. I should make a available right now one of those. Nintendo has expanded the Virtual Boy library with 5 more games. As I've complained about before, I feel like the Virtual Boy doesn't have that big of a library, so why don't you just release them all at the same time? I don't know. But we are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. We got V Tetris, which was one that I was actually kind of excited to see come to the service. Jack Bros, Space Invaders, Vertical Force, and Virtual Fishing. All these games are available, I believe, right now, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, V Tetris is the classic puzzle game released on Japan only for the Virtual Boy system in 1995. You'll stack falling Tetris blocks to form lines with no gaps to clear them. Jack Bros, can you make it back before midnight? The 3 mischievous Jack brothers are on a Halloween romp through the human world. They lose track of time and all their merrymaking and realize they only have 1 hour until the portal back to the world of fairies closes and they're banished forever. This one originally released in 1995. Space Invaders Virtual Collection. Experience the worldwide hit arcade game that released only in Japan on Virtual Boy system in 1995. It has 2D and 3D versions of the game. Virtual Bowling. Did I miss that one? I did. Virtual Bowling. In this title, released exclusively in Japan in 1995, experience the fun of bowling in a 3D space. And then we have Vertical Force here. Planetary caretaker computer of planet Odin has spontaneously reprogrammed itself and declared war on all of humanity. All right, sounds good. That came out in 1995. And then finally, Virtual Fishing, I guess, is Japan only for the Virtual Boy system here. It's a fishing title released in 1995. So all these are 1995, which makes sense because all the games kind of released together when the system came out. But don't forget, if you don't have the Virtual Boy console or fucking peripheral, you can't play these games. You have to have the peripheral. There's the cardboard version, which is $25, and then there's the headset, which is like, what was it, $80 or something like that. I still have mine boxed up over there. Haven't even cracked it open yet. But that's a me problem, not a you problem. All right, we are going to play Jeopardy. I lost on Jeopardy, baby. Ooh, I lost on Jeopardy, baby. All right, so don't forget, if you want to join Jeopardy, you can join the Discord and come to the Jeopardy room to play. You can also still play in the chat too. That's no problem at all. You can just play here. But if you want the ability to answer questions as fast as possible, you're going to want to, of course, join the Discord call where I'm sharing my screen. Today we have 3 new categories, of course. No repeats this time. We have indie characters, guess the game, and video game weapons. Which, so indie characters, this is going to be one where you see an image of the character and you have to tell me which game they're from. Guess the game, I'm going to give you a bad description or a very basic description of a game. You got to tell me what that game is. And video game weapons is just going to be, hey, tell me which game this weapon, or what the name of this weapon from this specific game is. So, if we are ready to go here, Callus has joined the room. Callus, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you.
Excellent. Nice.
Callus, you're going
I'm
solo
doing
on
well.
this one. Han Solo.
I'm ready.
All right, our first question here for indie characters for 200. Can you tell me what game this character is from?
It's a bit of a delay. Oh, that's Jimbo from... Wow, why can't I think of the name?
Callus? You got the name of the character right. I need the game.
I was just thinking of this game the other day. Why can I not think of the game? It's the poker like, the rogue like poker pokey poke.
Oh, that's right, Callus. It's
Babid several G.
Balatro.
Balacho.
Good work, Callus.
Wow.
No problem there. All right,
Uh,
question number 2. What
failed hard on
character
that one.
is this game from?
Hades, the first one.
Hades, the first one. There it is. I don't know why these are coming up as small screens, which is kind of annoying. Hades, that's right. Callus, which game is this character from?
Oh, that's the lamb from Silence of the Lamb. Just kidding. From you played it a lot. What's it called?
Boy, he wanted to make a
Lamb,
joke, but then
Cult
he
of the
forgot
Lamb.
the name. All right, yes.
Cult of the Lamb.
Cult of the Lamb. Question 4. We're getting into the harder questions. You might not know this one. Which game is this character from? Released last year? 2 years ago.
Ooh, I recognize him.
Her?
Oh, that's a her. I know the game, but I have no idea what the game is called. I don't remember.
All right. Well, this character is from Laika, Age Through Blood, the motorcycle shooter. Yes. And then finally, this one comes from a game of the year from the past. Which game is this character from?
Huh. Yep. You stumped me.
He's from Ollie World, game of the year.
Oh, didn't play that one.
What was that 2019 now? 2018? All right, let me close out all these. All right, next up. Category number 2 is Guess the Game. I'm going to give you a pretty bad description of a game, and you got to tell me what game it is. Inspired by you, Callus. Inspired by you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Question number 1 here. Shoot aliens, defend Earth, move side to side. What game am I?
Alien hominid? Oh, no, wait, you are the alien. Oh, wait, I know. It's the SNK one. No? Oh, never mind.
It is Space Invaders, Callus. Space Invaders.
Oh, I was overthinking it.
All right, here we go. Question 2. Don't overthink this one. Firstly, shoot guns, do everything, and kill thousands.
Kill thousands. Do everything, kill thousands. Boy, this is tough being on the other end. Is this firstly is like a first-person shooter? Is that a hint? As an FPS?
Perhaps. That's right, Callus. It's Call of Duty.
I should have said that. That's literally the first thing I thought of, but darn it, I should have said it.
You'll get redemption here. This is a character that this is a game series that you love. Let's see here. Spin fast, be blue, beat egg.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yes, I knew you'd get that one, being a super fan of Sonic and all.
Of course.
Of course. Question 4. Callus, lead the troops, whistle, and collect treasure.
Lead the troops, whistle, collect treasure. Pikmin?
That is right. It is Pikmin.
Nice.
All right, final one. Dance in time, score high, have a foot fetish.
Dance in time, score high, foot fetish. Dance Dance Revolution?
Whoops. That's yes, Dance Dance Revolution. Good work,
Really?
Callus. You got the 2 hardest ones, but you missed all the easy ones. Oops.
It's funny how that works.
All right, final category. Don't forget, if you want to join Jeopardy, we're in the Discord. We have video game weapons. And we're going to start off with chainsaw plus gun equals... I need the name of the weapon.
Is it the Lancer?
It
Or-
is the Lancer from
Nice.
Gears of
Okay.
War. All right, question number 2. You don't have to cut off your ring finger anymore for this weapon.
Huh. Nope, no idea what this one is.
The Hidden Blade from Assassin's Creed. If you don't recall the original version, and also in Mirage, you had to cut your your ring finger off for the blade to work. Question number 3. Dual burning blades for this Spartan.
Oh, yes, it's the... Oof, let's see if I can remember the name now. Blades of Chaos? Or something like that?
Something like that. Blades of Chaos. Correct. All right. Question number
Nice.
4. 2 more left here, Callus. Don't be fooled by the name. There isn't 9,000 of them. Just one big one.
Oh, is it the Poltergeist 9000? I don't know. I know that's not it, but...
No, it's the BFG 9000.
Oh, I didn't know I had a number at the end of that.
The big fucking gun. Or the big friendly giant, depending on who you're talking to. Finally, for the last one, last question of Jeopardy here, we got loaded full of mini nukes.
Loaded full of mini nukes. I'm thinking Duke Nukem, but I don't think that's it.
It's
I'm
not
gonna-
from Duke Nukem. It's
Yeah,
from
don't know this-
Fallout. Fallout 4 or 3 specifically.
Oh,
The Fat Man. But hey, you did pretty good today, Callus.
thank you.
Thanks for playing.
Thank you. I do believe you owe me, for my correct answers, $3,800. So you can mail it to me anytime.
I'm sorry, Callus, you're breaking up. You're breaking up. All right, thank you, the Callus, for joining in Jeopardy. Appreciate that. We just have one more thing to do today, folks. One more thing, and that is the question of the podcast. Of course, if you are in the Discord, you can suggest a question. I will get to all of them eventually. The most recent, or the latest one, I guess, the one that we're going to answer today is from D&D Lucy, a.k.a. Lucy. And she asks, when do you think we'll get the next Ratchet & Clank title? Also, thank you for the resub, Callus. Appreciate that very much. Thank you. And to that, I say we know when the next Ratchet & Clank game is coming. That is coming soon to mobile devices. If you want to be nerdy technical about it. When's the next real Ratchet & Clank game coming? I think, honestly, we'll probably not see another Ratchet & Clank game until the next PlayStation console comes around, which is probably going to be another year or two. I feel like after Rift Apart, I feel like, yes, the series is going strong, and they want to make more in the series, of course, which is why we're getting this mobile game. But because of this mobile game, I don't think we're going to be getting another mainline entry in the Ratchet & Clank series, and I'm guessing it's going to be another I'm guessing Ratchet & Clank is probably going to be a launch title with the next PlayStation console. That's just my humble opinion or thoughts or prediction. But I could see that happening. Being the more kid-friendly game for the launch of the system, and then maybe them having a couple of maybe a game for the adults, or maybe Ratchet & Clank will be the only launch game for the PS6 or whatever they're going to call it. I don't know. Excuse me, but I don't think we're gonna get another Ratchet & Clank game for another couple of years here, or at least until the next console is either announced or launched, and it's probably gonna be a bit of a dual release between PS5 and whatever PS6 is going to be. Hooray! All right. Well, I appreciate everyone for listening to this episode and tuning in live to this episode of the Ferret 64 podcast. Very much appreciate that. If you want to follow the podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, it is also there as well. It's just uploaded a few days late because it does take me a while to get around to just kind of doing subtle editing and also uploading. It takes a little bit longer for me to upload things now because of my new place, but this episode should be up by the weekend, and you can go back and listen to what you missed, or you can just tune in right here because it is pretty much same day available to scroll through once the live stream is over. I usually make the live stream version of the podcast available on YouTube. So make sure if you want to, you can check that out. I just don't update the thumbnail or anything like that until the official version on Spotify is released. So there's that. Don't forget that live stream schedule has changed, but I should be live tomorrow with either Pragmata or something else. And we'll continue our playthrough there, or maybe we won't. I don't know. You might be wondering, Yummy, are we going to have a weekend stream this time around? And I don't know. It's been actually pretty nice just kind of chilling on the weekend. But keep your eyeballs peeled in the Discord. Also, speaking of the Discord, if you want to join the Discord, there's plenty of different things for the Ferret 64 podcast for you to interact and join, possibly. We have the topic suggestions channel where you can suggest a topic for the podcast, whether it be news or whatever. Questions for the show. I of course answer a question every time the show happens, and also you can suggest categories for Jeopardy as well, and you can also join the podcast for any topic of your choice. I always post the list of topics before the episode comes out or live stream, so that is a big part of the show that has not been utilized yet, having guests on, and it's something that I really wanted to start happening, but of course hasn't happened yet. That is quite all right, though. I am fine talking and yammering on for you all, no matter what. All right, folks. Appreciate everyone stopping by. Extra thanks to Callus and Greedy for the resubs today. Very much appreciate that. Also, thank you to everyone who came by, lurking, chatting, etc., whether it be on Twitch or YouTube. Appreciate that, of course. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel and or any other locations that you so desire. All right, folks, that is going to do it for this episode of the podcast. And I can also turn off the gameplay now. But I appreciate you all, and I will see you all next time. I'm here, the Ferret, and I'm out of here. Have a great rest of your day. I'll talk at you next week. So long.